Morning viewers, day 64, that would make it the 18th of May. Another miserable no view day, so I'm probably going to link 3 days together, 62, 63, 64. Had a reasonable shelter last night, had a bit more room in the shelter, but just not a great sleep again. But tonight we're going to go into, we're doing 20 miles and we're going to get a shuttle into Buena Vista, do a resupply and shower and bed, so and then out again tomorrow with another 20. So working our way up to Waynesboro, that's where Hawkeye will meet his wife and take a couple of zeros, and we're sort of planning it in so that it's nearly a zero for me as well. So that's the plan. Again, probably not a lot of videoing today. We've got a major climb just about to start, 1,000 foot, so about 350, 330 metres. It's our biggest of the day. We do have another one at 10 miles, but that's a bit less. And the rest is pretty much flat or downhill. So, big day. I'm pretty sure this is the mountain with the big golf ball. Oh yeah, I can sort of see it. You can just see the bottom of it in the clouds. It's a huge big golf ball thing, some sort of communication device, but we're not really getting much of a view. Hawkeye's just wiped his glasses down and he's going to be catching up in a sec. Okay. So we're just coming down these steps, and it's been quite straight down. With the rain is not helping with the rocks being a bit slippery, but it looks like we've finished that section for a bit. There you go. Oh. So we're at the guillotine. This is the view from under the guillotine. It's just a rock suspended. One day I reckon it'll wear, the water will, oh look at all that rain. One day the water will cause that rock to fall. I'm glad I've done my time under it. So day 64 has been pretty terrible. It's still raining, so we use this little information thing as our shelter to have lunch. Hawkeye's ready to go. I just want to show there's a nice person having a hike, enjoying the weather, and this gentleman's taking our trash for us, and he's a thru hiker from 2015. So it was very nice of him. He's a ridge runner or something, I would say. Yeah, and he's just seen us here, had a chat with us, told us some information to help us out later on about going to the brewery, and told us we're about to go up a really nice hill. You're beauty. All right. Miserable day today weather-wise, not many views. One of the view spots that I got to, the TV antenna wasn't working, they were all grey, so couldn't get the picture right today. But this is the James River, we'll be crossing that. We've done 20 miles, picked up and getting brought into a motel to have a hot shower and some food and resupply. We are drenched. 20 miles done. We're supposed to get in at 4:30 after leaving at 6:30, that would be 2 miles an hour. We've smashed it out and got here at 3. So this is, oh there's the train. And that's the James River footbridge, dedicated to William T. Foote down here. So I think it's a play on words a little bit, but we've got to go over that, and then we've got a shuttle car to pick us up.
What she picks us up on is on the other side.
Yeah, it is. There's parking lots. Oh, right.
Well, we could be lucky and she's a little early.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. There's the railway bridge just over there. This is the longest footbridge on the AT. You can see the clouds are just lifting a little bit on the mountains up there. we've come down from that direction actually, because we walked along the river for a while. And more mountains over that side. Whew. 20 miles. I'm looking forward to this shower. Getting these sopping shoes off. The water didn't so much come from the rain. We walked through a lot of grass today, and you gave up trying to keep them dry. When you see the trees like that under the bush, into the river, it just looks like a jungle.
There's pretty days ahead.
And it's been like that lately.
That's what we're talking about is,
So, end of day 64, it's about 5:30. We're at a place called Buena Vista. It's about 14 miles away from the AT. Glasgow was where we were planning to stay, but the hostel was fully booked out, and the pavilion, because of the weather, we didn't feel like the free pavilion with hot showers was going to be enough. So we split a motel. So we're in the budget hotel, budget inn, and it is definitely budget. But this is the views from the motel. Those mountains aren't any of the mountains on the AT, but it is very similar to what we've been walking over. So as you can see, the clouds are very low. Really not hiking weather. It's supposed to rain again tomorrow, but we're going out. That's the office, that yellow building right there, and the laundry is just there. Good for us though is Subway's that white building. Hardy's barbecues on the other side. We could resupply at this petrol station, but there's also just on the other side of the Subway is a Dollar General. We've got Mexican and all that around us as well, but we're both tired, so we're not going to worry about that. We've already had Subway. So yeah, so in and out tonight. We've got a shuttle driver picking us up tomorrow to bring us back, and then it's 4 days into Waynesboro. I did say I wouldn't be uploading any videos for 8 days. I'm going to try with the Wi-Fi that's here. It's not very strong, but I'll give it a go. Have been able to see some of the comments that people have put, so that's good to catch up on that. The new boots have been, well, trail runners have been working out really good. I'll quickly show our room. We're in 117. It's a real classy room. So sorry about the lighting. But yeah, so that's my hot pack explosion over there, trying to work out what we're doing for resupply. I'm trying to dry out my trail runners on the air conditioner. We just get a really, oops, hang on, turn this dodgy light on. Pretty cheap bathroom, but it looks fairly clean for the motel that we're paid for. And for some reason, it has a separate kitchen area. We probably won't use it too much. I might buy some milk. I'm missing my milk. And I just noticed it's on a very big slant, because if you have a look at that black footing, it's narrow at one end and high at the other, and I hadn't noticed it until I just stood here. So yeah, so this is our room for the night. Hey viewers, well, I'm Reboot here with week 9 update, days 56 to 63. We're at the budget inn in Buena Vista, which is about 14 miles from the AT. Glasgow was booked out, and we didn't want to stay in the shelter. The weather's been too poor. There's got a free pavilion in the town with the hot water showers, but we really wanted to get some privacy and just some warmth, I suppose. So anyway, so the update, basically a quick summary of what happened. Day 57, I started the day, had a bad headache after doing the 22 miles with Hawkeye the day before. I was uploading that night beforehand, and I had a lot of issues with my phone, so basically every hour of the night before I was uploading videos, so I didn't get a lot of sleep. Then I went and did 22 miles, which is about 40 kilometres, running from thunderstorms. Then that morning we tried to get up early, and the first thing I had to do was go up a 1,000-foot climb, and at the top was a whole heap of rocks. My body just said, "No, you need to stop," and I had no energy. Hawkeye gave me a couple of headache tablets. They helped, and I had another couple around 1 o'clock, so about 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock, and by 1 o'clock I was feeling a lot better, so I wasn't able to catch up to Hawkeye, but I only ended up about 3 miles short of him. But it wasn't a good day mentally for me, mainly because of the rocks at the top of the mountain. Day 58, so I wanted to try and catch Hawkeye, but it was hot. It was very hot, and I had to go up 3 miles to catch up to where he was at. And then I was struggling because of the heat, done about 7 miles just in under 4 hours, so that's slower than normal. 8 would be average, until I come across a guy who told me there was trail magic at the bottom of the road. I did the next 3 miles in about an hour. Got down because I was worried the trail magic was going to leave. Was really hanging out for a Coke, but all he had was beer, Gatorade or water. So I drank 4 normal sized Gatorades. I was very hot. That helped me get up and over the next one. Some beautiful pictures from a place called the Ledges of a ridge. And I thought, oh, that's a very nice ridge over there, and you could see all the spine of the mountain all going up to the ridge. Little did I know that afternoon I was going to be walking along that ridge. So after the 4 Gatorades, I had to go up and over that again, and that was really hurt physically. A lot of liquids out of the body. Got down the other side, and there was another trail magic, so 2 trail magic. That was good. The shelter I got to was about 6 miles short of the hostel. Hawkeye had got into the hostel. I was looking at the time, and I knew the next section was Dragon's Tooth, which is very dangerous. And I thought I'd be nearly doing that in the dark, so I chose to stop at the shelter. The problem was with the shelter that it was about half a mile or 1 kilometre down a hill, and then another quarter of a mile, so another half a kilometre to get water. I'd already got water at the trail magic, so I decided where the turn off was for the shelter, there was a little spot there. I just put my tent in there. I think it was a good move. A lot of people come through and did go down to that shelter because they all needed water. Next morning, got up, did the Dragon's Tooth. Very good decision not to do it the night before because it was super dangerous. How they let people hike that without any safety rails or anything is beyond me. It is ridiculously dangerous. You're not going to fall 50 feet or anything like that. Well, you're 50 feet, you might fall 30 feet and do some serious damage. And some spots that put some rebar in, so you can try and use the rebar to get down, but there's still some other spots that you basically a seam in the cliff. It's only like this wide, and it goes down diagonally, and then you've got about a metre down to the next seam, and you're trying to do that with your pack on and with hiking poles, and it was just crazy. And thank God I didn't do that in a wet day, especially in the shoes that I was wearing. Got into the Four Pines hostel. Hawkeye told me he left that morning. I reckon we probably missed each other by half an hour from when he left to go up the next bit and me coming down. I sort of thought about just quickly going in, eating lunch and then coming back out to try and catch him, but the heat from the day before had really sapped it out of me, so I decided to, I'm going to stay put for the day. I went to the Home Place restaurant. Anyone that lives in America or around that area, fully advise you to go there. It was fantastic. There was a 2-hour wait for me to have the meal, and you just sit out in the gardens. That was because it was Mother's Day, and they just cram them in. You can stay there as long as you want, and you got endless fried chicken, roast meat or ham, along with coleslaw and all that sort of stuff. But the 3 meats, they just keep serving it to you until you say, I've had enough. My problem was, because while I was waiting, I had 2 cans of Coke, a packet of chips, I'd had a bit of pizza. When I went in there, I could only eat 1 plate. I was full, but really nice restaurant. Four Pines is a donation hostel. Pretty much you get what you pay for, so the shower wasn't great. It wasn't the worst shower I've had on the AT. I was feeling a little bit down because I didn't know anyone there. Then some older guys came in, and there was a person who came that I did know. that evening was quite good for my spirits because Tasha realised I was struggling a little bit, and she rang me back a bit later than normal, and we FaceTime, and she could see that mentally I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And then with that, plus the people talking to me, really helped that night. I packed everything ready to go, so the next morning I woke up at 6, just put the pack on my back, it was ready to go, and walked out the door. I did take 2 cans of Coke that they had left over from some free trail magic that they provided the day before, and 2 glazed donuts for breakfast. They said I could have them, so that day I got up. So remember, I only did 6 miles on the day before. It was hot, again, very hot, but where I was walking was shaded, and morning miles are important miles. So I really packed in what I could do at the start. I did 12 miles by 12 o'clock. I got up to McAfee Knob, which is quite a big climb. Fantastic views. I think a lot of you would have seen the photos that I put on Facebook. Really nice. Then you walk along a ridge line that's not too difficult until the very end, and then you go up to Tinker Cliffs, and Tinker Cliffs looks back at McAfee Knob. That was in the heat of the day, like that was 1 or 2 o'clock. Drained me a little bit, but by then I'd done about 14 miles. Then I hiked around to the campsite. Now, on this day, I had a choice of doing 10 and then 17 the next day, or do 17 and camp at a shelter and then do 10 into Daleville, which probably the one I would like to have done the most. The only issue I had is over the last 2 years, I've heard and seen on YouTube of bear activity at that shelter, and that didn't interest me too much. So I didn't think 10 on that day was enough, and 17 was ideal, but I didn't want to stay there. So I bit the bullet and decided I'm going to try and do 26 in the one day in 30 degrees Celsius heat. I got to pass, so I filled up with water at that second shelter at 17 miles, and it was only 4 o'clock. And I said, that's it, I'm going for it. Contacted Hawkeye through my GPS, and he knew I was coming, so he got a couple of Cokes ready for me. I thought I could go for a swim in the pool that we were going to stay at, but the pool's closed till the end of May. I was not happy. And I hit the wall at about 22 miles, so at about 40k. I should have stopped. I got the last 4 miles, because I did do 26, and I did get into Dalesville. Very emotional. I was going to make it, I wasn't going to make it. I was in a lot of pain. My feet were killing me. Thunderstorms decided to start rolling in late in the day. That was the last thing I needed. Plus the rocks really started in the last 4 miles. And the rocks on your feet when they're achy and tired is the worst thing you could possibly want. But I did get in. I overdid it. I know I overdid it that day. Hawkeye had some Cokes ready for me to help me out, get some liquids into me. Made a little bit of a joke around with the end of the video of me crawling into the motel room. But I was really happy I got there because I didn't want to stay at that shelter. And Hawkeye tells me the night before, when he did stay at that shelter, well, he actually stayed at a campsite about 300 metres down from the shelter. He had bears come into his campsite while he was in his tent. So a pretty good move by me not to go there. I do not want to see a bear. I'm happy if I don't see any bears while I'm here, or, well, I will see one. We go through a zoo later. That'll be happy if that's the only one I get close to. Day 61, 0 day. I was really cactus at the end of that day. I don't think I could have hiked on the next day anyway. Went into the outfitters and bought a new set of boots. Well, I didn't buy boots, I bought trail runners. Don't know why. I still reckon there's another 200-300 on my boots. No, they were shot, and I didn't know how bad they were shot until I started wearing these ones. And nearly the pain under the right ball of my foot's completely gone. So that was obviously a bad decision for Reboot not to reboot. We went out to tea at the Cracker Barrel. That was a lot of fun to get to there. That was going basically
on the side lane of a interstate to an intersection that had all roadworks around it to go to a big roundabout. The trucks were all coming round. Very probably one of the dangerous part of the trail that we've done. Cracker Barrel was all right. I only wanted to go to Cracker Barrel because Lion, the company I work with, makes Cracker Barrel cheese. So I thought, oh, Cracker Barrel, I've got to go there. Did some resupply as well. Just had a day chilling out, and I did feel a lot better. Day 62, we went out. It was very hot and humid, but it was a really nice path. I was one day ahead of my schedule because I did that 26-mile day, so I had planned to do a 28 slack pack, but because I was one day ahead and I wanted to stay near Hawkeye, we decided to just do 18 with packs. The 18 was quite easy. The next 10 the following day on day 63, I don't think I would have been able to do 28, even slack packing. We stayed in the shelter on day 62, hot, humid, and pouring rain at night. So everything was damp and wet when we got up the next morning. Same thing happened on 63, although 63 we didn't get any rain while we were hiking. We had some major climbs, so we started off with a 300 foot, then a 500 foot, then a 1,000 foot, and then a 2,300 foot. So, 2,300, you're probably talking 800 metres. The 1,000 is probably 330 metres. So, quite significant ups, and was hot. Really hot, so that drained us. That 18 miles that day was probably as far as we could have got. We were both very tired. Got into the shelter, and just after we got in, it sort of started raining that night, and it was a lot cooler. It cooled right down, which led into day 64, which was today, but I'll talk about that next week. But it rained all day. It was just a shocker, and that's one of the reasons why we're in here. In terms of mileage, I'll just quickly do the mileage, sorry. So for this week, I did 108 miles. So last week was my best week, 125, but did 108 this week, which is my second best, 173 kilometres. Now, I did have a 0 this week, and last week I didn't have any. So we're up to 766 miles, or 1,226k. Average for the week was 15 miles or 25 k's per day. I'm still at 12 miles or 19 kilometres overall per day. I had 1 0 this week, bringing my total to 10 zeros. I had 1 Nero, which is under 10 miles, brings me up to 8 of those. And I had 3 hostel stays, bringing me up to 28 hostel or camping at hostel stays. One of the advantages, I would have had one less, but I did 2 days hiking in one day, so the hostel stays come forward one day. Costs, spent $39.47 US on resupply, which is $52 Australian, and I spent $105 US on restaurants, $70 on the hostels, and $6 on laundry, total of $181.88 American, or $242.50 Australian. Total for the week in American was $221.35. So Australian, that's roughly $295.14, and US overall is $2,391.84, and estimate Australian is $3,175.01. And the good thing about that for me is, with all the stays at the cheaper places and camping, by this time I should have spent, well, my budget said 3,206 and I'm at 3,175. So compared to last week to this week, I've actually gone from being behind to about $30 ahead. Now, there was one other cost that I had, which I haven't included in the budget. I didn't include it originally either. Oops, it's still Wally, don't go away. I know it's nearly finished. I bought a pair of boots and a new pair of socks, because I threw a pair of socks out because they had holes in them. Don't know how I wore them out with the boots that I had on, but I did. So that was 124. I've lost my sheet. But I think it was 124 American. I'll just double check that. Yeah, 124 American, so probably about 160 Australian. The shoes I got, the Solomons, they're fantastic. I recommend them so far anyway. They feel like they've got extra guarding on the front, which hopefully will last. They're not waterproof, I found out today with all the grass, but trail runners aren't supposed to be waterproof so that they dry out quicker once water gets in them, and it's inevitable on the AT that they'll get water in them. And I have heard that if anything other than normal wear and tear happens, like you get holes in them or whatever, even if you're on the AT, you take a photo and send it to them and give them the code off the shoe, they will actually replace them for free. So 100% guarantee. So that's good for me. And I'd like to thank all the guys from work and some others, but mainly from work, that chipped in on a little betting thing that they had on me on how far I'm going to get, but that money raised some prize money, but it also raised enough for me to get 2 pairs of shoes on this trip. So it was probably my first bit of trail magic before I even started. So thank you, team. Very well needed, and I will at least need 1 more pair, maybe even 2 before I'm finished. But yeah, thanks for supporting me. That's it. Catch you down the trail.